stuck here. The cops won't bother me. Guys, here is the FJR, pretty much all done. And so I fixed it up, I changed the oil, it's pretty clean. And that is a reusable oil filter. You know, I've used one of these on my Yamaha R1, and this is the exact same filter, and it will fit on here because I still have it. This is a pretty interesting bike, and I'm really liking this. It's fast, it's comfortable, which is a combination for disaster in my book. And of course I do have this, and I'm not sure how to fix this. I'll probably just take like a hot gun and just kind of try and get rid of all of this. And man, this bike is so fantastic, and it's got that shaft drive that's amazing. Now, I did change my fork seal, so you can see it's not leaking. It's still got some old oil and grease from changing it, but I'm kind of pleased with it. This suspension also has adjustment here, which not a lot of people are too interested in, but fantastic bike, and for very little amount of money you can buy one of these. This is one of those bikes that, you know, you can keep for your entire life, and it's just as good as the day you bought it. This bike has got 50,000 miles, and it is amazing. Of course, I changed the fork oil. That's a thing that it is heavy, man. Just like putting it off the kickstand feels very heavy. So let's go ahead and go for a ride. This thing has got 49,000 miles. This bike, I'm not really sure who buys old FJRs these days, but it makes a lot of sense. If you're a bigger rider and you need a little bit of a larger bike, because, you know, even a Super Sport is a little bit too tight, I could see people getting this as an alternative to sport bikes. I mean, this thing weighs 600 something pounds, but if you like to go for very long rides, or you want to be very comfortable, this thing is a bike that's going to be much better than a Super Sport. And I enjoyed the seating position on these much more, because the Super Sports, they give you like this crouching position. It's a crouching position forward, and that's not a very great thing for looking around. You know, I like that these bikes I can still look around very easy, turn my neck, look. It's got excellent visibility out the mirrors. You know, this FJR has got some very interesting things already. You know, the owner really liked this bike, or the previous owner. He even had steel braided brake lines installed, and that's always a benefit. But not only that, he picked the ones that were blue to match the bike. It's always kind of funny when you see riders that do that, you know, the matching game. I just pick whatever's cheaper. I think I really want a bike that's got a shaft drive, and the FJR is almost perfect. You know, especially this year, the first gen, you can get them really cheap. But the only problem is that I prefer the ADV style of bikes because they're a little bit easier to handle. And I also enjoy bikes with less plastic. You know, when you do your own home mechanics, having to remove plastic, it's kind of a pain in the ass, and you wonder why hide the engine on the bike. I think one of the cooler things is having an engine that you can see. And I'm going very slow in these corners, but it kind of shoots out really well. There's nothing more that I enjoy than peeing outside, guys. Ah, that feels good. All right, let's get back in the horse. Looks like it might rain. Man, it's a fantastic looking bike. The more I look at it, even in blue, which is not my favorite color, it looks really good. I mean, it looks like a professional gentleman's bike. The dual exhaust looks great on it. I think it still looks very contemporary. I think I might have to keep this bike for a while. You know, I did put it up for sale, but because of this whole coronavirus, I can't get anybody to buy it. You know, it's kind of strange that I sold my Yamaha C3 for the same price, but of course this one needed much more work. Man, it looks really good, especially from this right side. And another thing that you don't hear about is the quality of the panniers is really fantastic. When you open it up like this, just the way it kind of like slides down with this contraption here, this wire, it's very fluid and it's very easy to remove. So you just turn it and then you lift this up and you just kind of pick it up. So very fantastic looking bike. Here's the car. I'm gonna have to get out of here. Alrighty. It's not, look at this. God damn, the speed is incredible. You do feel the G's when you twist the throttle on this thing. And this thing will wheelie. I haven't done any wheelies yet or picked up the front, but I can tell I should be able to do wheelies on it. It is that powerful. I like to honk sometimes in these little roads. Oh, look at that. My front wheel came off. Just to twist the throttle. You know, it's starting to get a little chilly. Let me put up my windscreen. Oh, it feels so much better now. It's so amazing that this windscreen blocks so much. Oh man, this thing is just so smooth. I think that's why I don't like it. It's too smooth and too powerful. It's gonna get me in trouble. You know, I don't know enough about this bike, how it handles in corners yet. Well, first of all, I'm a little afraid of the power, and I'm very careful about getting on bikes and just going balls out, especially these bikes that are a little bit too deceivingly fast. Just because you can easily get in trouble on this bike. I'm getting a little bit more comfortable with the speed of this bike, but I find the corners very, very wide, and I think it's because of me, mostly. You know, a lot of times you don't see a lot of riders, the vloggers, moto vloggers, like doing a lot of twisty riding, because they just ride around the areas that they know. People, they get into this whole group mentality and they think that just because you're part of one group you can't be part of another group. I don't like that. I know that like some people feel allegiance to like sports and teams. I never felt that way. I don't feel like that about motorcycles, you know. I get all sorts of motorcycles and I'm fine with it. I don't feel like I have a brand tattooed on my body that dictates what I can like and not like. Yeah, a lot of times I don't know where I'm going. Terrible idea to just go, but normally I have my GPS mounted so I know where I'm going. But I think right now I'm going north towards Tenleytown. Gettysburg is 28 miles away. Man, this bike, it just feels like you get on it and all of a sudden you're at your destination, and then even more. Like it feels like I haven't been riding. Oh, second gear pull. And you have that shaft drive that's so much better than the chain. Westminster, that's pretty far out. It's like north and west of DC. I think like 2 hours. Look at this, very scenic to be up here on top and looking down at the surfs. Uniontown. Yeah, it's a big like Civil War sort of city. I think this is the college. There, yeah. McDaniel College. That's what it is. But I do like the look of this. Look at this cool house. Looks like a fraternity of some kind. But I do like the look of like these old American towns, the Civil War style. You know, the house is very close to the streets. It's cute, but nobody's out. Look how eerie it is because of the COVID virus. Nobody's around. All the businesses are shut down. And there's a cop right there. Look, it's just a cool looking town, and it's completely empty. Very few people out. On a motorcycle, it's fine. You're socially distancing yourself. This is such a cool little town. There's coffee shops everywhere, nice statues. A time ago, I bought an ST1300 from a guy around here. I got a pretty decent deal. I think I put like 40,000 miles on that bike. You know, the thing is, when you have a bike like a FJR or ST1300, it's very easy to rack up lots of miles. That's why you see a lot of these very large touring bikes running around with like 170,000 miles. This is a private road, private helicopter. Look at that. That is pretty cool. When it comes to power, oh yeah, it definitely has an edge to it. This thing just feels so much more powerful than the SD. The SD feels great too. Like, it's got a lot of power and torque. Look at that Hobbit house. They sold like snowballs here. And I would come here in the summer and get them. I find that these tighter curves are not very good for this sort of bike. I know that it's maybe all in my head, because this bike should be able to handle it really well, and it does, but it just feels like it's so big, or maybe I'm so used to the smaller bikes that it always seems like it gets away from you because of the weight. And having weight on a bike is extremely hard, because like, that's why I like the FZ09. As the more I was looking at it, like, the more it feels like a fun bike to have. This thing sounds so good. Sounds so goddamn good, man. Jeez, this bike. I do love riding a powerful bike. You know, I used to do wheelies, and honestly, after a while, it's like, okay, that's enough. Okay, nobody really cares. Now there's like hundreds of guys that just, all they want to do is wheelies on the highway, and they somehow think that's a good thing. I mean, in case we're gonna run out of like circus freaks, I guess we're going to call on these guys to entertain us. I don't get it. I really don't. Like, what's the purpose? It seems like, what's the point of getting a motorcycle? It's just such a boring thing to do. Wheelies up and down the road. Ugh. I say. There's nothing like having a lifestyle, like motorcycle lifestyle, where essentially being by yourself is social distancing. So a lot of guys that are into motorcycles, especially like me, and have a very different life that doesn't involve going to restaurants with friends all the time, this whole virus doesn't affect you very much. So like, you could have a hobby like motorcycling or cycling, and you can go and ride, and your life is not going to be changing. I never realized that perhaps riding a motorcycle was the healthiest thing you could do, but it is. You know, in times like this where there's a pandemic, it feels like riding a motorcycle is almost therapy. God damn, this bike is powerful. As long as you don't hit a wall, then riding a motorcycle feels really good. And for me, I ride under my skill level. I'm more worried about cars coming in front of me, stopping, making left turns, all of these things. So that, for me, that's a little bit more dangerous. That's why the dark siding thing doesn't really bother me too much, because for me, I can enjoy riding a motorcycle slow. I prefer to ride fast, but there's hardly any cars that are holding people up these days. Look at that, 70 miles an hour without missing a beat. Well, squids, thanks for watching. I will see you in the next video. Bye. Kind of stuck here. The cops won't bother me.